Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for a client vlog and I'm going to introduce Gustov. This is our first vlog for him. So for those curious, unlike some of the other guys, his primary is a physique. He's one of those guys who's like, for me, strength and the big lifts are a means to an end. He doesn't particularly care about having big maxes, but we do move some respectable weight considering his training experience, especially on the squat and the deadlift. Because again, you guys know how I feel. We're going to do some stuff, but we stick around, 4 to 6 reps, 4 to 8 reps on those sort of exercises, and that's what we do, right? But we still lift relatively heavy. We have progressive overload because ultimately, even for natural bodybuilding type purposes, what do we want? We want to be strong on this stuff. So when you look at his setup, we basically do a 4-day bodybuilding split. But we start with barbell lifts, right? So notice on these workouts, we have a chest and tricep day, right? We have a press day. And so if you look at what we're doing here on this press day, right? We do flat bench, we do incline bench with a barbell, okay? Then we do decline dumbbells, and then we finish up with a tricep exercise. Now notice for most of his workouts, we do 4 exercises, right? We do around 4 exercises per workout, 4 days a week. So again, notice on the press day, and notice most of our work here is up and around the 6 to 12 rep range. Now, some of our stuff can go a little higher, right? Some of it will go a little higher, but generally speaking, most of our training is around 6 to 12 reps. Some of his deadlifts and some of his later squat sets might hit 4. They might hit 5, but usually we're trying to keep most of our training 6 to 12. Our big compounds tend to be, around the 5 to 10 rep range, right? Depending on what we're doing. And then our smaller isolation work is going to usually be about, 10, 12, 13, maybe up to about 15 reps. So again, you'll notice his press downs are higher reps. So again, if we look at it, notice I program most of his lifts. Like I prescribe the weights, have him do reps in reserve, and then he sends me the numbers. So for those curious, you're not always seeing it. You can kind of count his reps here yourself, but on a lot of it, I tell him, look, I want 65 kilograms on the bench. I want you to do 3 sets to 1 rep in reserve. Now that ends up being, relatively high reps because he has a little bit of a base built. He's in that 100 kilogram bench range. So we're right at what we would, consider to be an intermediate. Why? Because you look at his numbers. He can do for an all-out max 2 plate, 3 plate, 4 plate. Okay, or close to. So his benching, he's right around 100 kilos for the max, but we don't really max out. We do rep work on it. We hit the chest from all 3 angles. You'll notice later in here, like for his squats, he can do with about 112 kg, we're up to about 7 reps. So we know he's at least a 140. That's, again, 3 plates. Same thing, we do weighted pull-ups. So let's get over to our pull day. So we have a push day, we have a pull day, then we have a shoulder day, then we have a leg day. I do deadlifts on his leg day. A lot of my guys on 3-day programs, my dad bods, you guys are going to see a difference here. All right, a lot of my dad bod guys, we do a pull day with the deadlift on the pull day and then separate legs. For guys like Gustov who are a little more physique, he wants to be big, he wants to be jacked, right? So we're trying to gain muscle. We are shooting for lean gain. So our goal for him is maximizing body composition, just getting big, okay? So again, it's progressive overload on big lifts. We hit every muscle from at least a couple different angles. Okay, we hit everything from a couple different angles, and then we isolate anything that needs to be isolated. Things like rear delts, biceps, triceps, calves. We do leg isolation. We isolate his hamstrings and stuff. So again, we're trying to get big. So notice a lot of his form tends to be on the stricter side because we're exclusively bodybuilding. So we do pull-ups. We do that, and then we do dumbbell rows. So again, notice we keep his form fairly tight. Why? Because he's not trying to throw around big weights. In his case, his goals don't require mentally any form of ego lifting. He doesn't care about big numbers. He just wants to get big. So we don't chase, well, let's do cheat reps just to move more weight, because he doesn't care. He's like, I just want to be big. And we get big in his case by still trying to progressively overload big lifts with good form, right? That's the idea. And again, reasonably strong kid, reasonably strong, and he's getting stronger. Same thing, right? So then what do we do here after the dumbbell rows? And he gets nauseated on those, so he's like, can we change it? So I'm going to have him do the 45 degree next week. to where we do 2 of them on a 45-degree incline for a little more reps. So we do 3 types of back exercises, and we finish up with a set of curls. Now, the reason I only do 1 arm iso, his arms are balanced with the rest of his physique, right? So in his case, we just need overall size. So we just stick to the 1 curl, just like the 1 tricep extension. Why? I would rather him put out of his, if he has lagging arms relative to his chest or back, we might do 2 of those. But we don't, so we do 3 compounds for the chest, 3 different presses. So that hits the triceps, and then we come in and make sure we get that isolated with the press down. Same things with the curls, right? Same thing with the curls. We do pull-ups, 2 types of rows, and then we make sure we finish the biceps off. So in his case, since he's starting early on with balance development, we may not need to specialize in these things. They'll just grow. And then we get overlap on the shoulder day. So then we have shoulder day. Notice the shoulder day, we start with a strict press. So he does all the classic lifts. Even though our goals are all bodybuilding, this is more old school, natural type bodybuilding, right? We get strong on the big lifts, and then we fill in all the gaps with isolation work machines. So we do squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, weighted pull-ups. And then we come in and we take dumbbells and cables and machines, and we isolate everything that needs to be isolated to bring it all up. So again, what do we have here for shoulders? We have a press, and we have an upright row. His case, I want it all strict. We want everything nice and strict and pretty. We just care about progressive overload. He's one of the guys who's like, I just want to be big. So we don't have an ego about any of this, so we don't care. I'm just like, do everything strict, and we just slowly load over time. If something isn't getting the feel that we want, we rotate the movement. If anything gets inflamed, we rotate the movement. Again, very, very basic. And again, most of our stuff, the big compounds, tend to be in about the 5 to 10. Isolation work tends to be in about the 10 up to about the 15. Obviously, the big barbell lifts, we tend to go a little lower. Sometimes they can sometimes be as low as 4 or 5. And it works for, again, an intermediate. And we end up with, when you start doing the math, most of the muscles are getting about 9 sets, not, before any isolation work. So then the shoulders, the same thing. Shoulders get a little more. Why? Because he's chasing physique. So again, unlike some of my 3-day push-pull legs guys, we have 4 days, and we have a whole day dedicated to shoulders. And again, when your goals are physique, we have to do that. Aesthetics, shoulders are going to matter. They get their own day. They get their own day, right? It makes sense for his goals. So again, people kind of ask these questions, which should we do, X, Y, or Z? I'm like, it's goal dependent. So again, some of my dad bod transformations, especially ones care about strength, a lot of times I did just 3-day push-pull legs. You get a guy like this who just needs good balance development. We're starting from an earlier level. He came to me as a non-advanced lifter. His physique started relatively balanced. Maybe the chest needed a little more work than anything. We started pretty balanced, so I'm like, let's just build up. So everything's balance training with a slight. If we're going to bias anything, what do I tell you guys to bias for this? Bias your shoulders. And that's exactly what we do. Because his other training is pretty balanced, and then we have a full shoulder day. And notice we do 12 sets for shoulders. We do standing press, upright row, lateral, then we do machines for the rear delts. Okay? So also the rear delts for him will always get a lot of work from day one, because we do pull-ups and 2 types of rows every week, and then we do these. So everything is being hit in a very balanced manner long before he's an advanced lifter. And the idea here is we avoid muscle imbalances. This is just, we build him up gradually over time. And my goal for him is really long-term. He's hopefully going to be quite a long-term client, to where we started, this late novice level, and then I've had him a little while. We're now decently intermediate. We've made progress on everything, and then we work him up to being an advanced lifter. And in his case, he plans on being a lifetime natty guy, and that's what he wants. All right, so squats here, we've had to work a lot on some of his squatting, and we choose to do a high bar for him. I'm okay with that. Some people are like, why do we do the narrow stance high bar? Because he just wants a physique. He doesn't care about big lifts, okay? And so we just want to build this up. So we just gradually, progressively overload a normal high bar squat for him. Now, this has taken a little work. The squats have taken work to get it where I want it. And yes, he'll keep refining it. We've had to do some stuff. We had some major technique issues. And a lot of it had to do with chicken winging it. So we're still working on getting that. He keeps the elbows down now. But here's the point. We've gotten progressively stronger on it. right? We've gotten substantially stronger. Deadlifts, we're still working. There's some things I want him to work on the technique. You guys will notice a little bit of fishing pulling that happens here. I want him to learn to reset a little better between reps and to keep that neck more neutral. But we don't get any pain here, so we're okay. We're okay. But this is, past 3 plates, and he's doing rep work with it. So again, we're in a good spot. We do want to refine that. We've been talking about his deadlift technique a little. There's some stuff I want to fix with it. So we do a deadlift after the 3 sets of squats. We do 3 sets of leg press. Okay. Then we do some hamstring curls. And I didn't see the calves in here. I know we have usually calves we do. I don't think I got footage, and that's okay. So we have a leg press, and then we do a hamstring curl. Okay. And again, we keep the training pretty balanced. We keep it all balanced. Now, his legs are a hair stronger than some of his pressing. So again, I'm not worried. So we do all his leg stuff on one day. Because again, as long as we squat and deadlift every week for years and years on end once a week, he's not going to have lagging legs. Plus, we're always going to do some machine work. I'm not worried, right? In his case, it's going to be a little biased towards the upper body, but he trains legs every week and he trains them pretty hard, right? He trains them pretty hard. So it'll end up being a really balanced physique for him. It'll be a real balanced physique, and that is our long-term goals, and he'll still be quite strong when we're done. Because again, he hasn't been training super long. We're repping more than 3 plates on the deadlift. We're repping 2 plates and some change on the squats for like 6 or 7. Okay, so his strength will just keep going up. He'll hit a 4 plate squat, a 5 plate deadlift, and all that. Even though he's only caring about muscle, it's just invariably going to happen. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.